Key insights for securing education networks. It may surprise you to discover that education has become the second leading target for cyber attacks. But educational institutions are often easier to attack than other entities, and effective network security can be especially challenging for education for a number of reasons.
Security in K-12 and higher ed not only involves risk and threat management, but also careful management of budgets and oftentimes limited resources. The education environment has to enable ease of access, cope with a constantly changing user base, and connect with extended campus locations. These present additional security challenges.
Education CIOs rate security among their top priorities, but cyber breaches continue to grab the headlines.
DDoS, or distributed denial of service attacks, are on the rise and are most common in K-12 schools. You can imagine the impact these can have, especially during time-critical periods, such as during exams or enrollment periods. Ransomware tends to be quite common in higher ed. This is where files are encrypted by the attackers who demand payment for release of the files. It's not uncommon for significant amounts to be paid over to hackers, which is bad for finances and can even damage a school or college's reputation.
Education networks tend to be open with many entry points, potentially exposing data such as personal records to multiple threats and vulnerabilities. Institutions also serve a diverse and demanding population who connect to the network from varying locations and a mix of devices.
We find that resources can pose a challenge, especially for public K-12 schools. Security experts are a highly coveted resource in any sector. As a result, education has to cope with a shortage of qualified and available professionals. Responsibility for identifying and remediating security problems in a timely manner requires 24/7 coverage and appropriate staffing resources to support that. Also, the security technologies they use typically require a lot of analysis and insight into various hacking signatures. Network security doesn't just require a lot of skill, but also a significant amount of time.
So how are leaders coping with security for education networks? Typically, they face a compromise. Security technology requires continuous updating to be effective, but capital budgets can change, and expenditure can be impacted by reactive spending when new threats arise. Updating, integrating, and testing new security patches and equipment can put a strain on limited resources, which means it doesn't happen as often or as successfully as it should.
AT&T's Defense in Depth approach involves multiple layers, such as AT&T Threat Manager, log analysis, firewalls, DDoS mitigation, and many more. Additionally, AT&T offers security consulting with available online training and a comprehensive 2-day evaluation service to help you identify critical security needs and a path moving forward. If you don't apply the Defense in Depth concept, then the attacker only has to figure out one way to get around one type of device. If you implement a mix of technologies, then it's much harder for malicious activity to exploit multiple types of devices.
AT&T can offer your education institution a full range of network security solutions that can help improve the quality of your security and help to reduce pressure on your resources. They're carrier agnostic, which means you can take advantage of these services regardless of who provides your network or internet services. What's more, they're supported by AT&T's world-class security expertise, service, and support. Find out more by downloading a white paper from the AT&T website, where you can also find an infographic, 6 strategic education priorities challenged by cyber threats.